Hey there, everybody. Vin Crosby here from the Weather Show with Vin Crosby on YouTube. I wanted to get my friends and family all up to date on what you're sick of hearing about, Henri. Yeah, that's right. Hurricane Henri is out over the Atlantic. Everybody knows it's forecast to come up towards the northeast. However, I haven't really said anything about it yet. Wanted to look at some of the latest model runs, and one thing is for sure. It is going to take a drastic turn to the left right before it gets into landfall. And that's going to be, really impactful for all of you. Some people are going to look at this, and majority in New England are going to look at this and say, not a big deal. Hey, forget about it. We'll get some gusty winds, we'll get some rain. Overall, not an issue. Others, though, are going to say this thing was powerful, it was potent, it was disastrous. And right now, it looks like those folks are going to be around Long Island, back into Connecticut, and maybe even portions even further west. If this storm system does make a little bit of a turn towards the west, northwest direction, maybe even west, right when it gets to landfall, say around Block Island, over Long Island, and then digs down towards the west a little bit more than it's forecast, then it could be catastrophic for New York City and back into southwestern areas of Connecticut, right along the rivers. A lot of flooding is going to be a possibility. So this storm system, we're going to break it down a little bit here in the weather maps. It is a powerful storm, no doubt, going to be increasing in strength tonight, about a category 1-ish or so. It reminds me of a Hurricane Bertha I was in '96 down around North Carolina. It was a weak category 1 storm, not very organized. And one thing that was very evident is where the clouds were going with that storm. That's kind of where the track went when it made landfall. And if you look at this satellite picture of the storm, you can see it's very clear that the clouds on the west side of the center's very clear. It's got that classic little hurricane look now, is fanning out towards more of a westward direction. I think as this gets a little closer, we're going to see some of that westward direction. Right now, it's clear it's moving to the northeast. It's going to be a big swooping curveball, baseball analogy there. It's going to come right on in and curve to the left. It's going to back right around and almost take a beeline right on up to Long Island Sound. But beeline is a little bit strong of a term. It's going to slow down. Right now, it's moving around 16 knots, up around 20 miles per hour. It is going to slow down to like maybe 4 miles per hour right when it gets up around Long Island Sound. So it's going to strengthen. It's going to take all the rain, all the energy, everything that a hurricane has that makes it dangerous. And then it's going to slow down. So it won't come slamming in to the New England coast and race on up in towards New Hampshire, Vermont, or western areas of Massachusetts initially. But it's going to slow down. It may curl all the way back and spin a lot of moisture in towards New Jersey, into Delaware. Some of the moisture may get wrapped around in a storm system that's kind of controlling it and bring tremendous rains to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. That's right, Maryland may get impacted by this storm as it gets up there towards New England, then backs around to a west turn. Some of the moisture may wrap around because hurricanes are so big and come around in through Maryland. One thing is for certain, just like we just had the remnants of Grace come on up, or Fred that moved up towards North Carolina and caused the flash flooding with the multiple deaths there. They're still looking for bodies. Flash flooding is going to be the issue with this storm when it's all said and done over the next couple of days. Then as all that humidity, the humidity getting pulled on up into New England, and just sitting there, it's going to be just terrible as far as the humidity goes. Then as the storm system kind of moves back in over that humidity and thunderstorms reform over the next 3 days, then we'll see flash flooding possibilities with the remnants of the storm. So you have all kinds of stuff that's going on with Henri that you need to be concerned with. Well, let's take a look at some of the maps here, and we can see, again, the satellite picture. Let's take a look at the wind field and why I'm a little concerned. We have a couple of different models. One is this GFS model, a global forecast system model. It brings the track right up where the hurricane center has it, going over Long Island into Connecticut, on up in towards western and eastern areas, western Massachusetts, eastern areas of New York State. The other model, the European, pretty much the same thing, although the European does hint at the very tail end of a little bit more of a jump towards the west. And then there's this thing. It's a high-resolution rapid refresh model. It's the HRRR. Does a real good job painting where the thunderstorms are. I like it a lot. But watch this. This shows the track of the thunderstorms, again, going a little bit more westward at the end, which makes sense. The eye opens up a little bit. It gets all sheared apart. So it's not going to be an organized, powerful hurricane in the hurricane sense of high wind scales. It'll be minimum and then fall apart quickly. But when it falls apart, that's when the friction of the storms over the inland areas will pull that center, I think, a little bit more west down in towards closer to New York City. So I think there's going to be a big shift in the Hurricane Center's forecast track as tomorrow morning, I bet you that it shifts a little bit more towards the west than they have it now. So we'll see how that all plays out. Again, anywhere when you get a hurricane, it can go in any direction. But right now, my thoughts are that this thing's going to move up. It's going to slow down, almost stall completely, and then wobble back towards the west. Let's check out the wind profile here from this model. You can see the calm in the middle of the storm. That's right. The eye of the hurricane, the winds are virtually 5, maybe 10 miles per hour. It is that calm. And the wind scale shows this. And then it shows the track of that eye going on up, again, on a more westward track than the Hurricane Center has it going. And I kind of like that at this point. And also notice the winds, not that great around this storm. So not a big wind damage kind of event, although you will see high gusts over 70 miles per hour, maybe 80 miles per hour along the immediate coastal areas. The flooding, the wind damage, that will be, not great. But inland areas, you'll be spared from the high damaging winds from this one outside of individual thunderstorms, which could bring some winds your way. The other thing is the rainfall, flooding. With the flooding rains coming on in, this map shows the high amounts and concentrations of rain pretty much from the Connecticut Rhode Island border on westward, southwestward, in towards New York, Long Island. Tremendous flash flooding is going to be possible with this storm. Also notice around New Jersey, Delaware, back into Maryland, Pennsylvania, a tremendous amount of rain comes in well before the storm, the eye of the storm makes landfall. They get probably more rain than anybody out of this system because they're going to get the first edge of the storm system. Then it's going to back down a little bit and get encompassed to the southwest. Then it's going to spin and then roll back up over the same areas with more scattered showers and storms over the course of the day on Monday. So this is going to be an interesting storm track. And then, of course, where the storm center goes, the remnants, heavy rains, flash flooding. I want to say the Berkshires of Massachusetts, back out into western areas of Massachusetts, all of Vermont, southern New Hampshire, over to Maine. All these areas are going to get inundated with the possibility of flash flooding. Connecticut's going to be just underwater in many locations. Get your important papers ready. Have those contact informations ready. As far as flood insurance, that sort of thing. If you're anywhere from Hartford on down towards the west and southwestern areas of Connecticut, around Long Island and New York City. Real high potential for flooding there, as will be down towards Newark and down towards New Jersey and into Maryland. I think those areas are going to see some flash flooding from this. New England, I know my old friend I worked with at the Weather Channel, Mr. Cantore, was parked on Narragansett Beach. I know that because my aunt went over and said hi and said, "Hey, do you know Vin?" And he says, "Hi, brother." Anyways, and he flashed this picture to Aunt Cheryl there. So I appreciate Jim saying hi. Everybody in the country knows, hey, there's Jim. That means it's going to be catastrophic here. In this case, maybe not so much. He may be driving a little bit more towards the west, although I do think there will be coastal flooding around the Narragansett area, coastal areas of the southern areas of Rhode Island, of course, around Point Judith, of course, down around Groton, Connecticut, and around Block Island. Those areas will probably get a minimal storm surge, but any storm surge is a bad storm surge when it comes to flooding conditions. And remember, it only takes about 2 feet of water, moving water, to float a vehicle. So never drive through any high waters across any flooded areas, especially where the streams are going over the banks. Then those areas around western areas of New York, Long Island, back up in towards western Massachusetts, eastern areas of New York State, especially down around the coast, those are the areas where you'll probably be without power for quite some time. So have several days of water, some batteries, flashlights. Get ready to be miserably damp because it is going to be raining quite a bit. Now, other areas will get bands of thunderstorms going into the morning hours, like Rhode Island and all that tomorrow morning. But a lot of those bands will move on through quickly. You'll have your high gusts of winds, maybe some small branches coming down and some localized flooding, but that'll be it there. There is always the possibility of tornadoes when these storms come inland and kind of rotate through very quickly, get the friction of the surface, and you get a little twist in the thunderstorm that causes these small tornadoes. They, of course, can do damage. So there's a lot going on here with the storm. A hurricane is giant in size. It encompasses so much. And so that's where you have to really, really pay attention to the short-term forecast, and then, of course, the long-term forecast as this storm system winds down. So all the hype will be overnight tonight. Things pretty much, if you need things boarded up, it's probably too late to get down and get your boat off the water, especially in the Long Island Sound area, where I think those areas is east of Long Island and right along Long Island and the Sound. I think those areas will get the most damage when it comes to boats and stuff like that. But Mystic Seaport, back up around the I-95 corridor, all the way over to Point Judith, all suspect to some coastal flooding and some high storm surge as it moves on through. That's kind of how I see it breaking down right now. But clearly you can see it on the satellite picture. Very large storm. It's stretched out, elongated. There is a ridge, if you will, where these hurricanes like to go, nosing itself on up on a northwest kind of axis, stretching from where the storm is now all the way on up through New York City. So I think that's where we'll see this storm go, get yanked up into that area. Water temperatures, I did check them. They are around 79.8, just around 80 degrees, which is your threshold for hurricane and tropical storm formation. It will be much cooler as the storm gets north and slows down. So it will quickly weaken and be a strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane as it goes on through, and then quickly dissipate. But with all these storms, the rainfall potential is extreme. 4 to 10 inches of rain, likely right around the core of the system as it moves on through, and then some outlying areas that will get kind of hit again and again as this storm system slowly gets out of the picture. Over the next couple of days, they'll get higher amounts of rain coming on down. So high humidity, just going to be miserable. Hopefully you don't lose power. I'm sure everything will be just fine for many. However, just use common sense, right? Don't go to the coast during the storm. Don't go down and watch the large waves. By no means go in the water. The riptides are going to be tremendous. They will suck you under. You will be gone. And that's kind of it when it comes to this type of storm. So that's the way it's shaking down. Henri strengthening even as we speak. Looks like it's veering out towards the, going to go out to sea, but it is not. Trust me, it is going to curve right in over Long Island Sound. It is going to back its way right down in towards New York City, I think, and rotate in that direction before it kind of moves up and moves out over the next couple of days with lots of rain. And then the big problems, I think, will be for several that don't get hit from the immediate impact of the storm, and the sun's out tomorrow in spots. Then those thunderstorms form in the afternoon, the evening hours, and then that's where those storms will be tremendous with a lot of moisture that's being pulled in towards the area from Henri right now and its track. So a lot going on with this storm system, even in the after effects. That could be worse than the initial push of the storm going in towards Sunday, Monday, and maybe even Tuesday as this thing slowly works its way back out over the open oceans. Looks like up around the Gulf of Maine, it'll finally get out there on Monday night going into Tuesday morning. So that's it. My take on Henri. There's a lot, again, going on with this system. It looks like it's going to be cranking on up and moving right through. That is not the case. It's going to be cranking. It's going to make a big curve. It's going to be a big sweeping hook and go right on in towards the Long Island area, right between Long Island and Block Island, and bank on down towards the west-southwest. Now, Block Island, that's that little island off of Point Judith. They are just going to get crushed. Big-time heavy surf there, big-time winds on those bluffs. Just batten down the hatches, ride this one out. Several days probably without power there. I think Nantucket will be okay, but Long Island from Groton, Connecticut, Mystic Seaport area on west, down towards New York City. Point Judith, of course, getting some. Narragansett getting some, but not the brunt of this storm system, as it will, I think, bend back towards the west. I'm really concerned with eastern Pennsylvania and the flooding possibilities there. New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, all these areas, good possibility for some flooding rains from this system. So that's a weather show with Vin Crosby here on YouTube. I thought I'd just give you that update. I know I have a lot of friends and families back there, members back there in the Northeast. All right, go Red Sox. I know a few of you are Yankee fans and all happy. Don't get too happy. They're going to bomb. They're going to choke. But all right, I shouldn't go down that road. It's going to open up for lots of nasty comments. Really appreciate you checking out the YouTube show. Subscribe, share with your friends and family. This is just one meteorologist take on the Hurricane Henri. And again, thanks to Jim Cantore for saying hi to Aunt Cheryl in Narragansett, Rhode Island, on the beach. The beach will not be a good place during the day tomorrow. That's for sure. Thanks for watching the Weather Show with Vin Crosby. More on Henri if warranted. But right now it looks like I like it coming up. Banking to the west, stalling out, and being around for the next several days in New England with scattered showers and storms. Don't be deceived by any sunshine that pops out with some of the dry slots that will be moving through the region. Once you see those storms kind of forming, just get indoors, ride them out until they pass your area. And again, with any landfalling hurricane, there is a chance for tornadoes.